Yo, what's good everybody? Today, I'm gonna be testing the limits of MONARCH Cid versus some of the hardest game modes in anime Vanguards. I did a video similar to this with MONARCH Choi, and that video really helped me figure out the pros and cons to this unit, and hopefully this video does the same thing with Cid. So if y'all do enjoy this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below y'all thoughts on this unit. So without further ado, let's stop the yapping and let's get into the video. So I have 3 different tests that I want to run for MONARCH Cid, the first being the brand new raid. Now, the special thing about this raid and with MONARCH Cid in the raid is that he has a damage boost, so he's going to be doing more damage in this raid compared to when he normally is going to be doing damage, but that doesn't take away the fact that this raid is still super hard. Now the thing is, with my MONARCH Choi video, I literally only had 2 money units and just Choi. Now if I had support units and buff units, I think I probably could have got him farther in the test that I ran with that video, but in this video I'm not going to do the same mistake. I'm gonna actually bring some buffs, I'm gonna bring some support units to actually help him beat the stages and not just see how far he can go solo, because 99% of the time you're not going to be using only one unit, you're going to be using supports, you're going to be using other units. So this time I'm gonna make a nice support team, and obviously with the money units and everything, and actually see how far he can go by him being the only damage dealer. All right, so now I have a very well built team. The whole team is built around Cid. So we have 2 buffs, we have Haruka and SOOO, we have Lucy for the nullify, and then we obviously have the 2 money units. This is going to be the team I'm gonna be running for every single test I do, because one of the tests that I'm going to do is required to have Lucy too. So I think this team should be enough for all the tests that I want to run. I'm going to do normal. Hard is, you know, it could be possible, but I have to be there for like 15-20 minutes, and I'm not going to do all that. So we're gonna run normal. All right, so here we're in the stage. I'm gonna try a strategy that I always do whenever I play like raids by myself. I usually place on my Cid on wave 1 to get him to take care of these early waves. I usually place on like another unit, probably like my Monarch Dante, to take care of the excess enemies. But in this video, we're only gonna be using Cid, nothing else. And like I said, he's gonna be doing way more damage in this mode because he has the damage boost. So just keep that in mind. Still though, I feel like we're gonna need this boost because the boss on normal has almost 4 mil, and the Cid, the Lord of Shadows boss that's gonna happen after this is gonna be even tankier. So yeah, so right now I got my buff units down, just giving them a good buff. We got Haruka and we have SOOO, so he's gonna be doing a lot of damage soon enough. And yeah, I won't be talking too much because the raid gameplay is pretty boring, I would say. If it ever does get pretty close, then I'll probably cut back and give my progress on how it's going, but for now I think Cid should be able to take care of the first couple waves. All right, so we got the Smith John version done. It's honestly been pretty easy up to this point. Cid doing 153k every 4.8 seconds, plus his passive where he's doing 40% more damage to enemies that have more health than his damage, and he's gonna be doing a stacking of 5 damage per attack. So this boss Cid should be getting shredded soon enough. And another thing that I realized yesterday that you might be wondering how did I not figure out earlier is the fact that you can win this game mode just by killing the bosses. You don't have to kill the enemies to win the game mode. So yeah, I figured out pretty late, but now that I do know that, it's gonna make the game a lot easier because I don't have to worry about these guys, and the track is pretty long too, so even if they go all the way around, they probably won't hit my base until I kill Lord of Shadows. So yeah, this is gonna be the process right here. I have my Cid about maxed out, doing 228,000 every 4 seconds with max buffed, I think. And here comes the code. The best thing I do is just put it in the chat, just so I just make sure I just don't forget. And yeah, I'll skip to when the boss is pretty low, because from here on out it shouldn't be that bad. All right, so the boss is pretty low, and I think this ability should once happen right here. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. So that was pretty easy. I don't know how long that took. That took 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So yeah, that was pretty easy. So yeah, Cid easily cleared that. That's 1 test done out of the 3 that I want to do. So yeah, now like I just said, that was the first test that we just did, and he easily completed that. Now the next test that we want to do, the second one, is gonna be dungeons. Now when I did this with MONARCH Choi, he had the 4x multiplier and he still struggled, so that kind of, you know, makes me believe that Cid, who doesn't have a buff, is gonna do kind of poorly in this. However, Cid does have full AoE and his damage on placement is pretty strong, and this time we do have buffs to support him. So this time I have a little bit more faith. I think with MONARCH Choi we got to like wave 4, wave 5, which is pretty disgusting, but let's hope that we get at least to the final wave. If we beat it or not could be debatable. I'm gonna try to stock up on his nukes and everything too, just to make sure we win. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so here we are. We're gonna pick Exterminator, of course. That's the #1 modifier you want to use in dungeons. And yeah, let's start up. So like I said, hope we get past wave 5 because Choi did horrible. To be fair though, his placement, AoE, and like size is horrible. He's a small circle with a single hit, so I don't know what I was expecting. But Cid on the other hand is like almost full AoE. His range is kind of garbage on placement, but I don't know. I think if we swap to Cid, he's gonna have like a 2-second SPA, and his range also gets boosted Cid for like 30 seconds. We'll see though. I think I have a strategy in mind to make sure that we win this, but let's hope that strategy works. All right, so I didn't know you could place Cid like right there. He's like in the middle of the tower. This is actually much better than I thought, because now he's actually getting like a good area of all 4 paths. So that's actually really nice. And I want to make sure I have my swap on, because he does damage every time he swaps. So unlike Goku and Vegeta, instead of supporting and doing stuns and slows, he actually does damage, which I feel like is going to come in handy in this game mode. All right, so right now already Monarch Cid is doing way better than Monarch Choi. His AoE right here on placement on John Smith, where it's basically a full AoE, is actually coming in clutch like crazy, as well as whenever he swaps, he does like a lot of damage. It actually helps out so much with the excess enemies coming in. But right now I want to make sure I save up as much money as I can, so that right when I get enough money, I can get Cid's full AoE, and then at that point we should be set. So yeah, right now it's actually looking like a much better start compared to Monarch Choi. Okay, so I got this Cid full AoE right here already, and we are doing crazy right now. He got this whole area in control. I'm not picking any debuffs right now because I don't think we can afford that. I can't even afford one singular bad debuff. I'm just picking all positives. But right now we are doing amazing, and this is right now him without the 100% damage boost and the 50% range boost. So once that's active, we are gonna be cooking like crazy. And I will actually no, I'm gonna pop this auto right now, because I do want to start getting his swaps ready for whenever he wants to nuke. But right now he's doing 100k DPS with a crazy full AoE. I honestly think we could beat this. I'm not gonna lie, I actually do feel like we can beat this. So yeah, once it gets to like a later wave, or like wave 20 25, I'll cut back and I'll show y'all my process. Actually, one thing I just remembered is that Cid's nuke right here is actually a little bit bugged. I don't think it works whenever you have buffs applied with him. So the actual plan is I'm gonna just keep him at this Cid full AoE, get him to his max buff, and then right when the boss is out, I'm gonna swap to John Smith, and then I'm gonna pop his ability there with the 600% more damage, and then with that we should be set. But yeah, I just want to say that because I think right now Cid's nuke is a little bit bugged with buffs. That's why I think when you see videos and you see Cid's nuke not working, it's not because he gets stunned out of it, but it's because whenever buffs are applied to him, then he doesn't pop it, or it doesn't show. At least it shows the damage indicators, but it doesn't actually show the damage on the unit. It doesn't even affect them. So yeah, I just want to say that. So the strat is just going to be for me to get his 100% damage boost, 50% range boost, get to the boss, the final wave 30 boss, and then nuke him with the John Smith. All right, so we are on wave 30 now. I did lose 2 stocks, but we're still alive, and this is Cid with max buff and everything, with a good amount of buffs, but I can't scroll down for some reason. But he has a good amount of buffs applied to him, and he's doing 660k every 5.8 with 100 range, and yeah, 114k DPS. I don't think the boss stands a chance, I'm not gonna lie to you, because we also have an absolutely broken John Smith nuke that does 600% of his damage to the highest HP enemy, and yeah, it's gonna go absolutely stupid. So yeah, I just wanted to come back. Wave 30, we're almost there. Max buff Cid, doing crazy. I'll be back whenever the boss is in Cid's range. All right, so here comes the Ant King boss. I'm not gonna swap yet. I want to wait until he's in range so that I can hit him with the 80% damage for John Smith. For Cid it's 150%, but for John Smith it's 80. So here he is. We're gonna put him for strongest. Oh, I accidentally did the nuke. Rip. All right, we're gonna do the they won't know I actually pressed the nuke. Let's do this, and then we're gonna get a couple attacks on him. He has 7 million HP, kind of crazy. We're gonna get a couple hits on him first before we actually pop the nuke, because we want to do as much damage as we can on him. And yeah, he's getting destroyed. Holy crap, he is getting destroyed. We're gonna pop the nuke, and he's dead. There you go. So Monarch Cid was just able to solo dungeons, I would say pretty easily too. Holy crap, he did absolutely crazy. Yeah, 121k DPS. With Cid, he was at like 114k with a massive full AoE. Cid actually went crazy. So there you go, second test done. Right now he is 2 for 2 in the raid and in the dungeons. Now the final test, which I think is going to be the hardest one, is going to be if he can solo a rift. All right, so the final test that I want to run for Monarch Cid to fully find out if he is as broken as I think he is I'm going to test him out in a rift. I'm going to see how good he goes. I personally think he is able to solo it, just like how he just did in dungeons. We have him in his Cid full AoE until the boss is in range. We go to John Smith, we pop the nuke, we go back to Cid. That should be the strat to beat it. However, rifts do get pretty intense because they're not not as chill as dungeons. You have a lot of time to farm up and place your units and upgrade them, but with rifts, you have to be quick with everything. So it's definitely going to be a hell of a challenge, but I personally think Cid is able to do it. So now I just have to wait until a rift spawns, and then once it does, I'll see y'all when that happens. All right, so here we are in the rift, the final test that I want to run for MONARCH Cid, and yeah, let's just get into it. So obviously we want to place Cid like right here, especially since he's full AoE. This whole area will get attacked, and the fact that his range will get even bigger with his passive, we are going to be doing a lot of damage. And of course, I brought Lucy just for this game mode. Now Lucy does help with the raids as well, because they also have, I think it's called the mutator modifier, where they take less damage or like no damage, but Lucy counters that with her nullify. So I brought Lucy for this. I brought Subaru and Haruka, of course, for the supports, and then I'm using Cid, of course, as my damage dealer. Now I feel like the first couple waves aren't going to be as bad, but like with rifts, the enemies start coming in really quickly. The really good thing about Cid though is all of his AoEs are really nice. They're all cones, they're all half full AoEs. There is a full AoE in there. There's basically a full AoE with placement John Smith, but all of his AoEs are good, so we should be fine in terms of all the enemies coming through. But I'm gonna farm, I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna place Cid like right here. And after I get him placed down, I'm probably gonna place on my Haruka, start farming, and then once I max him out, it should be pretty easy from then on. So yeah, I'm gonna start farming, I'm gonna start upgrading him, and I'm gonna see y'all once it gets to like wave 10, wave 15, and I'll show y'all my progress when that happens. All right, so now I have Cid to full AoE, and he's actually just been breezing through this whole thing. I'm not gonna lie, he's had no trouble clearing all these enemies, because his passives basically make him do so much more damage compared to what his damage stat actually is, quote unquote. Like this right here, this passive makes him do more damage depending on how much HP they don't have, which again makes him do more damage here. And then his John Smith form makes him do 40% damage if the enemies have more HP than his damage stats, so he's basically always doing 40% more damage. Then he's also doing 5% more damage depending on how many times he's attacked an enemy. So yeah, these dudes are just breezing through this whole thing. The moment I get this maxed out, I can probably even upgrade my Subaru to get his return to zero ability right here too, to give him an extra 10% damage. And yeah, now he's just gonna be cooking. So yeah, when Yuba comes back, I'm gonna see y'all, but right now Cid's doing 286,000 every 6.4 with 63 range. Yeah, this is actually ridiculous. So yeah, I'll see y'all when Yuba spawns. All right, so Yuba spawned, and now the enemies are kind of getting past Cid a little bit. It is getting kind of tricky, but this is one of those times where I feel like Cid's nuke right here would go absolutely crazy. It really does suck that it's bugged right now and it doesn't work, but once it does get fixed, then all these enemies probably would have been dead because of the amount of swaps I would have done. But yeah, the moment Yuba is in his range, I think I'm gonna pop that nuke. Where even is he? I can't even find him. Oh, he's right here. Okay, he's about to get there, and then right when I go, I'm gonna make sure I hit this so you can get the damage as well. So there you go, boom, and we'll put it strongest for now, and then we're just gonna nuke him immediately. It did a good amount of damage, but I don't know if that's enough, I'm not gonna lie, because yeah, now Cid doesn't have his damage boost, which sucks. So I feel like now I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to put Cid back here. I'm gonna do that, buff him. I'm gonna just keep him at this upgrade. Just gonna make sure that he is just locked onto this John Smith mode, and hopefully this is enough. Honestly, I don't know though. I don't think this is enough. Yeah, GG's. Okay, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, I can try the nuke again, but it's not gonna work. Yeah, you know what, that's honestly fine. I was really not expecting to win this. I actually had hopes that he was going to win it, but the fact that he got all the way to wave 20 and still held on a good amount of time, I'm telling you, if his nuke was working and if he wasn't bugged, he probably could have got that Yuba a lot lower HP, because I wouldn't have to worry about the excess enemies coming out like all over here. He definitely could have done it. He maybe could have done it, but definitely would have had a higher chance if the nuke was working. But it is what it is. Still though, he definitely did. He still definitely went crazy. All right, so that's the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope this video did really show y'all how broken MONARCH Cid really is. If I was you, I would definitely go try to get Monarch on him. I feel like he is so worth it, and the fact that he's bugged right now and his passives, and I think one of his passives don't work, where whenever you swap you do damage, it's only based off of his placement damage and not like whatever damage he is on that upgrade. So he is still like quote unquote nerfed because he's bugged, and he's already doing so crazy. He soloed dungeons, he soloed raid, and he almost soloed rifts, which is crazy to think about. So I hope this shows all the people that are saying that Cid is mid and needs to get buffed to, like, you know, see the potential there and just go invest in him. Trust me, he is really good and he is definitely worth the investment. So yeah, that's about it for the video. I had a lot of fun making this. Hope you guys did have a lot of fun watching this, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.